You don't need a perfect life to feel happy. You don't need everything to be in order. And you don't have to control all the chaos out there. True happiness doesn't come from external circumstances. It begins within, from how you think, how you choose, and how you repeat the smallest things every single day. I used to believe that happiness would show up when everything was fine, when work went smoothly, when the family was harmonious, when finances were secure. But the more I waited, the more disappointed I felt. Turns out I had misjudged something important. Happiness is not a destination that appears once all problems are solved. It's a capacity to shape how you respond to each of those problems. You might be in a high-pressure phase, heavy workload, piling responsibilities, tense relationships. Yet even so, you can still feel peaceful if you take charge of your habits and your perspective. Science shows that only 10% of your happiness comes from circumstances, your job, your living conditions, your salary, your relationships. 50% comes from genetics, something you can't influence, but the remaining 40%, it comes from how you live each day, how you train your thinking, shift your awareness, and rewire your emotional patterns. That means nearly half of the happiness in your life is entirely in your hands. It doesn't rely on luck, it doesn't depend on others, and it's certainly not a random gift. So why do so many people still feel unhappy? Because they let their minds chase after things they can't control while ignoring the things they can master, like morning rituals, like the way they talk to themselves inside their heads, like whether they see failure as the end or as a fresh starting point. I used to be that way. I chased after a version of happiness society had laid out. Big house, nice car, status. But the more I clung to it, the emptier I felt, until I learned something simple that few people teach you. Happiness doesn't have to come from grand achievements. It comes from how you reset your mind, how you make small choices, and how you choose to look at the world through a different lens, moment by moment. You can start over. No need to move houses, no need to quit your job. Just change how you think about work, about yourself, about others. And that shift doesn't come from one dramatic turn, but from small actions repeated steadily until they become your nature. A warm glass of water in the morning, a reminder to yourself, everything is happening so I can learn how to grow stronger. A moment of gratitude that today you still have the chance to begin again. You can't change your genes, you can't control other people, but you can train your brain to respond differently to life situations. And when you do that every day, just like brushing your teeth, your brain will learn something powerful. Happiness doesn't arrive later. It arrives the moment you pause, take a deep breath, and choose to live differently. Don't wait for life to stop being difficult to feel at peace, because the challenges will never stop. But how you live amidst those challenges, that is the real definition of someone who understands what happiness truly is. You can start today without doing anything grand, just one clear thought, one calm reaction, one repeated choice, and one simple reminder to yourself, I am creating happiness day by day with my own hands and my own mind. There is a habit that may seem small, but has the power to change the entire way you experience life, and that habit is gratitude. Not the cliche kind of gratitude, not a polite thank you said out of social courtesy, but a deep acknowledgement of every act of kindness, every gentle moment, every small ray of light in what may feel like a dark day. When you practice gratitude, you don't change your circumstances, you change how you view them. And that quite literally rewires both your brain and your entire approach to life. You may feel tired, under pressure, or that life has nothing to offer worth smiling about, but try this. Pause, close your eyes for a moment, and reflect. What have you already had today? A nutritious breakfast, a message from an old friend, a minute of silence where no one interrupted you, or simply the steady rhythm of your breath in your chest. These things are so easy to overlook, but it's that very neglect that traps you in an imagined sense of lack, where you constantly feel that you're not enough, that life isn't good enough, that people don't understand enough, and that you don't deserve happiness just yet. Gratitude is the act of selectively choosing what to focus on. On any given day, hundreds of things happen, and you can choose to fixate on what frustrates you or on what soothes you. When you practice gratitude, you're training your brain to instinctively seek out positive signals like a radar scanning for light, and the result is this. You feel lighter, your sleep is deeper, your heart beats steadier, and your mind clearer. This isn't just a feeling, it's a conclusion supported by numerous neuroscience studies. Your brain doesn't distinguish between an actual experience and a feeling triggered by thought. When you write down 3 things you're grateful for each day, your brain reacts as if you are actually reliving those experiences. And the more you repeat this, the stronger the neural connections associated with contentment, peace, and happiness become. Gratitude isn't a denial of hardship. It's a wise choice not to drown in it. It's an inner voice gently reminding you, even though things aren't perfect, I still have much to cherish. I used to keep a small notebook by my bedside. Every night before I went to sleep, I'd write down 3 small things I was grateful for that day. Some days it was a warm cup of tea. Other days, the silence of a late night, or a gentle glance from a loved one. These seemingly trivial things, after a few weeks, did something that expensive courses never could. They helped me feel calmer, slower, and more appreciative of what I had once taken for granted. Because the truth is, nothing is truly guaranteed. Not health, not opportunities, not love, not even your very self. If writing isn't your strength, then start by expressing your thanks more clearly in your relationships. A message of appreciation to someone who listened to you, a spontaneous hug for a family member, a moment of recognizing a colleague's effort. These small actions don't just lift others, they also lighten you. And here's the magical part. When you send out signals of gratitude, you begin to attract matching energy in return. You start to see more reasons to be thankful, and that positive circle keeps expanding. Gratitude also has a power few people notice. It soothes the deepest negative emotions, envy, regret, resentment, bitterness. All these emotions thrive when you compare, when you feel robbed, lacking, or unfairly treated. But when you practice gratitude, you affirm, I do have good things in my life. I am nourished. I do still have the capacity to live and create meaning. You shift out of victim mode and return to the role of creator. If you're going through a hard time, it's even more important to practice gratitude, because in pain, your brain easily exaggerates negativity and blurs the positives that still exist. In that very moment, stopping to write down just one thing you still hold on to, that is an act of resistance against despair through a conscious choice. You don't have to appear strong. You just have to remind yourself that something, somewhere, is still on your side, even if you haven't noticed it yet. Gratitude is also powerfully contagious. When you live with a grateful heart, you naturally become more pleasant, more patient, and more compassionate toward others. This not only improves relationships, it helps you build an emotionally healthy ecosystem where you are